Good morning. How we doing? Was it Rich? Rich, did you see the Darren Hardy yesterday? Darren Daly? Is Rich in here? He's sleeping in. I watched the Darren Daly today, and then I watched the other one today, and it was on Mike Tyson, and it was talking about that when he grew up in the Bronx as a kid, he was always getting beat up. He actually didn't like fighting, and then he met Cos D'Amato, who turned him around and turned him into a fierce, feared competitor. But one quote that he had in there, which I think applies to all of us in all aspects of life, is, "Do what you hate to do, but do it like you love it." And he said, why did I get up at 4 in the morning and run every day? Because I knew my competition was and would give me a competitive edge. And I think when you have that mindset, right, I don't know anyone in here that says, oh my God, I'm so excited, I'm gonna go make for sale by owner calls today, or I'm gonna pick up the phone and I'm gonna, you know, we don't get real excited about our prospecting activities, right? And maybe we don't hate doing them, but when we change our mindset from hating to do it, to procrastinating, to making up excuses to not do it, to do it like we love it, and then find a passion, and the results will be incredible. So I thought that was a great quote. So anyone, I would, if you like boxing, it was a great story. Darren Daly, yesterday's was on Mike Tyson. Quick video. Brooke, hit us.
Everybody's got a dream. Everybody's got a goal. What's the plan? Your plan has got to be clear, concise, compelling, consistent, and committed. You've got to have a plan.
Don't go to bed without a plan of how you're going to handle the next day.
You have to work at it every day. You have to plan.
Productivity is never an accident. I want you to understand that it's not going to happen by luck.
Success is cause and effect, not magic luck or magic fairy dust. Success is easy. It's making a plan and executing the plan every day. Make a plan, work the plan. Make a plan, work the plan. And whenever the plan doesn't work, you change the plan. That's called failure. It's called learning a lesson. It's called adjusting. If you do the work and you do it for a long enough time, you will be successful, period.
Whatever it is you're bold enough to dream, if you are intentional and deliberate about it, every single day, if you do a little, you're going to wake up one day and your dreams are going to be a reality.
The shortcut is a lie. The hack doesn't get you there. And if you want to take the easy road, it won't take you to where you want to be. To reach goals and overcome obstacles and be the best version of you possible will not happen by itself. It will not happen cutting corners, taking shortcuts, or looking for the easy way. There is no easy way. There is only hard work, late nights, early mornings, practice, rehearsal, repetition, study, sweat, blood, toil, frustration, and discipline. Discipline, the root of all good qualities, the driver of daily execution. Discipline defeats the infinite excuses that say, not today, not now, I need a rest, I'll do it tomorrow. There is only one way, the way of discipline.
There's power in consistency. There's power in doing something over and over and over and over again. There's power in practice.
And your problem is you are on beast mode Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 10 a.m. to 12, beast mode, 1 to 5.
You keep starting and stopping and starting and stopping.
I challenge you. I challenge you to make up the gap. I challenge you to go from average. I challenge you to go from good. I challenge you to go from great. And I challenge you to be phenomenal. I challenge you to live in beast mode, because beast mode makes more money than average does, period.
When you are a true hunter, you don't go by time, you go by the gazelle. You don't hunt from 8 to 3, why? Because the gazelle may not be open from 8 to 3. You hunt until you get a gazelle, and you don't stop until you get one. And then you get another, and then you get another, and you get another.
What's a gazelle? I'm asking, I don't know. But you better get one, damn it. You guys know I like that stuff. Consistency, 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 right? The greatest people were not the ones with the greatest talent, but it's the one that consistently do little things over and over and over that create a discipline that creates a good habit. That's what makes greatness. And that's what that drives home to me. The one thing that we're doing in the vast majority of our mastermind groups right now is looking at what differentiates us. What value can we add above and beyond what we've done in the past? And so we're going and we're asking everyone in the mastermind groups to take this assignment and spend an hour or two looking at what are other people in other parts of the country doing from a concierge service standpoint. It's the number one thing we're focused on right now in our mastermind groups. Probably 5 of them right now, I think we have. And every one of them, I think, that are $10 million plus, that's the assignment right now. What are the concierge services? What are things, right? Because here's where we're at in this industry. The change that's taking place is people want it simpler, less stress, fun if possible. Right? And I always say, if you can't make it fun, you got to take the stress out of this. We've got to start making this an easier process for everybody. So we're saying, come back. What are the things? One of the people said in one of the mastermind groups last week that, when their clients move out, their sellers move out, and this makes it easier to get your 6% commissions, guys, when you start adding these values, when you're doing staging, when you're helping them get that house marketable and ready. But they're saying when the seller moves out, versus them being stressed out of having to come back and do this final clean so it's ready for the next buyer, that they're sending a person in to do 2 or 3 hours worth of cleaning to vacuum it up and wipe it down and get that ready for that buyer, to remove that stress from that seller. It's, what's My Robin? Is that what it's called? My Robin, something like that. Is a company that you can go hire for a number of hours to do whatever things, to run whatever errands. I want us to think different than we've ever thought before. What can we do above and beyond what we've done before to add value? And then consistently do that, because that's what we're going to have to do if we're going to continue to create value in this. You've heard me talk about my fear is the downward pressure on commissions. And we've got to show more value and simplify this process if we're going to be able to get 6% commissions moving forward. And if we can't, we're going to be like all these discount brokers where our commissions are going to come down here, theirs are going to go lower. And then it's, why are we doing this anymore? The other thing that I took out of that video, many of you have heard me tell the story many, many times, so I apologize, but it reminds me of the Google story, which says, he talks about failure. Doing something not working is not failure. Right? You got to do it over and over and over and learn from those things. Learn from the past, learn from the good, and learn from the bad. And real quick, to remind you, the last time I was at Google was a month before Steve Jobs died, which is probably 6 years ago now, I'm guessing. 5.5, 6 years ago, somewhere around that. And it was my second time there. There was a group of 50, 60 people in the room. We all signed confidentiality agreements. I was one of 4 from Prudential, but Better Homes and Gardens, Keller Williams, RE/MAX, Century 21, Sotheby's. Everybody had 4 or 5 people in the room. Everyone had signed confidentiality agreements. And the gentleman got up there and said that, everyone thinks we hate Apple. And he's like, we don't hate Apple. Actually, we have the utmost respect for Apple. They're such a fierce competitor, and this one of the things we got to remember. They're such a fierce competitor, we will never become complacent. Stop learning, stop growing, as long as we have competitors like Apple around, right? The moral of that story is competition is good, right? So we're in here talking about how do we create concierge services, how do we add value? That's really forced by what the competition is doing. So whether it's Zillow, whether it's discount brokers, whether it's others, it makes us say we've got to take our head out of the sand and look at things from a different perspective than we have before. Google goes on to say there's 2 fundamental differences from us and Apple. The first one is, he says, they would never do what we're doing here today, confidentiality agreement signed or not. They would not be bringing people in saying, here's what we're doing, what do you think, what's your input? They don't care. Apple doesn't care what other people think. Apple does things, they tell you this is why they're doing it, and they expect you to like it. The second thing is, that'd be great if we could have that attitude, right? I like that. The second thing, though, is what I want to focus on, is they said, Apple doesn't roll anything out until Apple believes it's perfect, right? Apple is going to roll it out, and they're going to stick with it unless there's a major disaster. Google says we roll everything out. And at this time, they were rolling out Google Plus and 2 or 3 other things. I can't even remember what they were, and I don't think they worked out. They said, we're going to roll things out with the expectation and the understanding that nothing's perfect, some things will not work at all, and the things that do work, we'll have to continue to tweak and change as we continue to move forward. And so my whole philosophy of that, ever since that moment, has been, right, we're going to make more wrong decisions than everybody else. But we're going to also make more right decisions for everyone else, because we want We want us as an organization to have that Google mentality. That mindset is we're going to try things. We're not going to sit on the sidelines for the fear of failure and not do things. And I want you guys to do the same thing. Get out there and try things. And if something doesn't work, it's not failure. Edison did not get this right the first, the 10th, or the 100th time, right? Electricity took him time after time after time, and none of those were failures. Those were all stepping stones, learning curves, getting him closer to what he is attempting to accomplish. So that's what we need to do. Is we need to take our experiences, good and bad, and we need to learn with them, not dwell on them, and move forward. Create consistent habits over time. The thing that I'm struggling with is I can't lose weight. I get on, I'll do it for 2 weeks. I jump on the treadmill this morning because I jumped on the weight scale last night. And I'm like, holy shit, I got to stop eating chocolate. So if I walk into any of your office and I grab chocolate, slap my hand and tell me to put it down. Oh my God, it's like a drug for me. So Shannon brings it in the house, says, well, the kids need it. And I'm like, well, I'm a kid. So guys, we're going to keep pushing forward on that. If you're not in a mastermind group, I'd still encourage you to get in a mastermind group. But I would like, whether you're doing this as a task or not, I would like every single one of you to start thinking out of the box. What can I do different? Remember my coaching philosophy that I stole from Jay Kinder 15, 20 years ago. Money flows to the difference, not to the similar. Money flows to the difference, not to the similar. What are we doing that differentiates ourselves from the other competition that makes them want to do business with us and want to pay us more than others? That's the question we've got to be asking ourselves on a daily basis. What are the services that we can provide them that's going to justify us continue to get 6+% as we move forward? Someone comes in and says, I'm going to do it for 3.5%. It's Rick. we have in sales meeting 25 phone calls a year that ring. 19 of those are Brian's. You would think by 70 years of age, you would learn what the God.
71 next week.
71 next week. Whoa. All right. I had some conversations a couple weeks ago with all the Berkshire Hathaway executives. And there was nothing intentionally done wrong with this, but we got to be careful. A client asked an agent to, says, I'm looking for investment properties anywhere in Omaha except North Omaha. Now this agent actually lives in North Omaha. So they weren't trying to, and so they basically verbatim of what the client asked them to do, they sent that out in a mass email. You can't, and then I had another agent like 2 days later say basically the exact same thing. And I don't know what the story on that was. I think I told Scott, please call them and tell them to change that immediately. You know, you can say we want this part of town, but don't be excluding other parts of town, period. So you got to be careful in how you're communicating your messages. There was no ill intent in this. And the person felt sick to their stomach. But if you have questions about anything you're doing from a marketing perspective, get a hold of Maggie, get a hold of me, get a hold of one of our managers. Let us look at that and make sure that because you can take the message and get the same message out, right? You can say, I only want North Omaha, or I want only east of 72nd or west of 72nd, or what clients. So, but be careful. We need to keep yourself out of trouble. So this went all the way through the process of Warren Buffett sending down to Greg Abel, who called Ron Peltier's called me at 7:30 in the morning. So like, it was not one of my better days. But it was what it is. But we want to make sure our job is to protect you guys and keep you out of trouble. So when these things come up, we need to make sure that we're making you aware of these things, because I think sometimes you're doing these things without thinking of them, with no ill intent. And next thing you've done something in the rush of getting it done, and you potentially have a risk at hand. So be careful when you're doing these things. I think everyone knows the fair housing laws and this type of stuff, but I want to bring that up. I'm not even going to ask if there's any questions, because if there's some questions, that would make me nervous. Real quick, Midtown Crossings we have. John, you want to come up and talk a little bit about what we have? These guys are not able to sell other houses. They focus just on Midtown Crossing. And did we ever come up with a program with other listings down there that you guys were going to be able to do some cross-showing of those properties for agents? I don't remember where we ended up on that.
Yeah, we're still working on that and kind of refining the numbers regarding that for other agents.
John Begley.
John Begley.
Yes,
Midtown
sorry.
Crossing. Julie Hergert and I. Am I live?
You're live.
Right. Julie Hergert and I do the condo sales down at Midtown Crossing. We've both been at it. I've been at it 5 years. She's been, 6.5 years. It's a great community. We currently, since 2010, we're 9 years into the development. We started with right around 300 condominiums. We've sold about 70% of the development. One of the beautiful things about the condo development for you as an agent is we essentially do the work for you. So if you're buying in our inventory, our units they're non-negotiable, yet the developer does offer a great concession that can go towards HOA, closing costs, and storage. So we write on our own contract, so you bring the buyer down, and we do all the work, which is great. And again, for your buyers that are transitioning, it's a wonderful opportunity for those that are wanting to downsize, or those that have, second homes that want to be able to, spend time in Omaha half the year, the other half of the year at their other location. It's a great lock and leave concept. We have concierge service. We've got the retail, the restaurants. Blackstone is blowing up just up the street from us. That's been really huge. So it's a great development and a great community to live in. Great security. We've got the Alamo Theater that just opened up a month ago that's really bringing in a lot of people. So we're just excited to have that as an opportunity for, again, your buyers that are looking for an alternative for just a transition out of a home into simple, again, lock and leave, easy living. So questions at all?
And how do they get hold of you guys if they have?
So we're open 7 days a week. You can contact us at Midtown Crossing. Our hours are 10 to 6 Monday through Friday and noon to 5. Our units, one bedrooms start at $205. They're one bedroom, one bath, up to just under $500K for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And we're open noon, I think I said noon to 5 on Saturday, Sunday. So just give us a call down there. You can go online too. We've got a great website with pictures on the condos. And then if you just want to come by as an agent to just get familiar with the development, we'd be more than happy to give you a tour and show you what it's all about at Midtown Crossing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everyone get graphs that we put out here? We finally think we're getting back to a point where we figure out how we can... Brian, you didn't get them? You didn't get the big one? Brian did get the big one. That's right. That's what his wife called last night and said. I'm just telling you what she said. I can't,
Warren's going to be calling you.
We used to have these on 5 different pieces of paper. We finally got this to point now that we've merged with MLS and Lincoln that we can do this. To save paper, and actually we think, we're happy to get some input on this. We put this on one. So we put the number of active listings we have. That was as of, actually we need to put a column. That was as of 5/9, Maggie. That top one was as the poll date, which was May 9th. That shows that the amount of active listings. And we put in there for the other, that's literally 190 plus other companies, which is the second biggest category there. And then basically we have the top 5 companies for market share on here, showing what their market share was for active listings as of May 9th. The second one, the Metro Omaha market share, is through the first 4 months, 1/1 through 4/30, closed transactions, what our market share was relative to the other companies in the market, and then we broke it down for Douglas and Sarpy County. Metro Omaha does include Washington, Cass, and Pottawatomie County, I think, is the 5 counties when we're pulling that up, which is basically similar to the old MLS. So use these again as vehicles in listing presentations as you're sending things out. And then this other one is the executive market, the $500,000 plus market, okay? And so this one, we believe both of these numbers, quite honestly, that this 39% market share and this 51% in the executive market are both undervaluing us. We had almost $280 million with Berkshire Hathaway last year. We had $100 million plus at CBS of transactions, again, that never hit MLS. Almost all of those fall into this category, that $310 $70, $80 million worth of business doesn't hit MLS, which is dwarfs everyone else. No one else is even close to $100 million, okay? All falls in this category. We think we're really literally in the mid 60% when you come to this executive market because all the $1 million new construction houses, one-party listings that never get put in there. But use these. I think these are pretty powerful charts just showing, you know, Dodge is next at 16%. The next closest is Better Homes and Gardens at 10, Nebraska Realty at 5, Keller Williams at 3. I mean, you add all of them together and they're just not even close to us. So use these graphs to give you a competitive advantage and then message and communicate in the sellers in a way you're comfortable. What does this mean to them? Yes. Is that in a PDF on the form section?
Yep, so it's on the
I have no clue. Yes.
the BHHS A and B, and then you go to resources, and then agent graphs. Yep.
Yes.
Yep, they're
I'm just curious, number of agents, especially us, Dodge, and Nebraska.
So if you guys remember at the end of, the question was number of agents, us, Dodge, and Nebraska. I think, and if you remember at the end of the year, and we analyzed this at the end of the year, per agent productivity, we were ahead of everybody. Per agent productivity, which I think is where you're driving, okay? Well, our number of agents, including, I think Omaha only is about 900. Nebraska Realty is,
They say 650.
they say 650, so that's 12 that's working.
13.
At 13. NP Dodge is probably 450.
They say about 510.
They say 510, okay. So 500, 600, and 900.
Which makes our figures look even better.
That's my point. So if you remember what I did at the awards breakfast, I handed out a kind of an annual sheet that had, I think on that sheet I had per agent productivity, which we were better than everybody else. Actually, you guys were $1 million more in closed sales than the next closest competitor was. So that's pretty meaningful. And it was double what Nebraska Realty, more than double I think what Nebraska Realty was, and about double what Keller Williams was. So on a per agent basis, you guys are killing it, which is highly unusual. I don't know of another broker in the United States that's the largest broker in a metropolitan marketplace, 500,000 plus, where that company has the highest per agent productivity. Usually when you get to a certain number of agents, your per agent productivity starts going down and you're just really running on agent counts. So but to Ellie's point, that makes these numbers even more impressive when you look at their agent count relative to our agent count. You guys are clearly killing them on a per agent productivity basis. So let's give yourself a hand for that. I'm going to have Scott come up next. Does everyone know who Scott is? Scott's a new agent. We've been talking over the last couple weeks, and then these guys had a meeting last week when they came to town about getting something that we are crazy excited about. That's been, I would say, the biggest struggle in this industry for the 25, 30 years that I've been around it, which is health insurance. And so we think we are close to being able to get a group health insurance type of program together. We're trying to get Minneapolis. I called them last night about 6:37 to give me an answer on being able to roll this out. But we're going to give you the details of this that we have. We're still some things in the works in this, but I'm going to let Scott kind of run through what this program could look like. And we are very excited about this.
Yeah. So Vince got approached by Denny.
Denny, who runs the Jet Award for Johnny Rogers.
Right. So just because Vince knows people, these things come to us, which is great. And so this guy came in and he approached us, and it's basically what's called an assurance program as opposed to an insurance program. And so it's not run by like a U.S. Health or a Blue Cross. It's really kind of a conglomeration of a bunch of different 1099 independent contractors that set themselves up under a 501c3, kind of a charitable organization. And so what we're doing is we're pooling all of our money together, much like what an insurance company would be, but we're not looking to make a profit on it. It's not a for-profit thing. It's really kind of a charitable trust, and it's designed to give you an option that would be significantly lower than the ironically named Affordable Care Act or private pay insurance. And it has, it's not a perfect solution, as there is no good perfect solution in medical health insurance, but it's a very good solution for a lot of people that fit into these categories. It's got prescription benefits, which help. It caps out on what your prescription drugs would cost. It gives you free access to like a what do they call it? The kind of the emergency healthcare services that you can go to. It has the ability to negotiate knee replacement costs, major medical insurance, major medical issues. It's got and where some of the things where it's a fallback is it does have some pre-existing condition issues, and it does have some caps on, like a long-term cancer issue. But for, the majority of a reasonably healthy person, it's a very good solution that's going to give you some coverage that otherwise would be far more expensive, and it gives that coverage to your family too. And so we are very excited about it. We're very pumped up about it. We are dealing with home services and their HR because it is a benefit thing. We're vetting it to make sure it is what we think it is. We think it is what we think it is, and so we're hoping that we're going to get this going as quickly as possible. And if we do, we're going to have the gentleman come in from Utah named Bill Anderson to present it for you, so you can get a more fuller picture for it. But it's a very good solution. And the nice thing that we would have is it would be only offered to our agents.
So we've got an exclusive for Omaha.
Yep. And so we think this is a really great benefit to you guys. We just need to get it through and get it going. So that's kind of where we're at on it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the cool thing. It's 400,000 plus people in it, and then they hire an administrator to administrate this thing, but they're not looking to make the insurance company profit on it. And that's the reason we can do this. He did talk about pre-existing, which I know is an issue for people, and I think they consider pre-existing if you've been cancer-free. Let's use cancer as an example here. 3+ years, right, then you would qualify to go on the plan right up front. But then I think there was a phasing in after I don't remember this exactly, but after year 1, yep, you could start doing it with a third of the benefits and with everything except you'd be excluded on that part of it.
Right.
So, and then there is a max cap, but like regular insurance, you have like a $5,000 deductible or something like that. Once you hit your $5,000, you're done for the year.
Really, there were huge benefits in copays on what you'd have to pay to go to a hospital. There are also huge benefits on the prescription drugs, which, as everyone knows, can get really, really expensive. Our son has ADHD, and his Vyvanse prescription was $250 per month, and that was with the copay. So that was not copaying anything for us from what we could.
I have ADHD, and mine is chocolate. Chocolate's a lot cheaper.
I'm starting to slip those pills into Vince's chocolate. He's really focused up recently. We're very excited.
Yes. You got to poke fun at yourself, right?
Do you know on physicians and hospitals, are you able to choose?
Yeah. It's you go to wherever you want to go because it's not. Again, this is kind of your money, and you're taking your money to a physician, and the benefit is that you've got all these other payers who are there to chip in for you when you need it, and their point is kind of what the benefit is as opposed to insurance, which will pay them over 6 months. Or a very long time, the way that they come to the providers, they go, hey, we're going to pay you cash in 10 days. How much would a discount would be if we can give you cash in 10 days? And of course, most hospitals don't run on, get the benefit of that. They get paid over time and, with reductions. And this is like, hey, we'll pay you, $20,000 right now. And so they go, that's a pretty good benefit for them.
So I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be interested in this if we can get this pulled off. So we're hopeful. We're pushing this through as fast as possible. We feel really good about our couple conversations with these guys. So hopefully over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to get a date set that we'll bring them in here. I would love, we're probably going to need to have 2 or 3 meetings, but I would love to get you in here and see what they're doing and see if that's something that is beneficial to you. But I think it's going to be something that's going to be very beneficial to many people in this organization.
Yeah.
Cool?
Cool. One more thing.
Yes.
I set this out on the Berkshire page yesterday on Facebook. Be careful, because when the combined MLSs, people are going to start writing on Lincoln purchase agreements, and their standard purchase agreement treats taxes.
I just saved you. That's one of our agenda items.
Was that
okay?
one of the items? I'm sorry, Brian.
If you don't see your name next to it on the agenda, you don't talk about it.
I don't want to.
Go ahead. Brian. No, go. Brian didn't want to talk anyway. He's almost 71 years old. He's tired. He needs to take a nap.
Just be careful, because the Lincoln Board purchase agreement has their taxes are under paragraph 13, and they treat taxes like they treat them in Lancaster County. We, Douglas and Sarpy, are the only 2 counties in the state of Nebraska who do it the wrong way or the right way, depending on how you want to look at it, which is we pay our taxes in arrears. In Lancaster, they pay their taxes current. That's really all you need to remember. And so when they are prorating their taxes, you would get into a situation if someone uses a Lincoln purchase agreement, it would create, and the buyer comes in, they're buying a house in Omaha, they're using the Lincoln purchase agreement, the taxes they would get a huge proration more than
one
they
year.
should. 1 year proration.
So, and here's the problem, right? We've had a couple of these situations where all of a sudden the seller and the agent, I think on the last one, split the difference on the thing, right? So guys, you're really on the hook. The seller splitting it was probably a benefit to the agent in this case. So we've had a couple of situations where agents have unfortunately paid some money because we didn't disclose that right. And obviously when we're doing the net sheet, we're not putting the extra year of taxes on the net sheet. So we need to resolve this issue with Lincoln and figure out somehow, some way to make sure that everyone's on the same page if someone's using a Lincoln agent, a Lincoln purchase agreement here, because this, you know, this is not cool. And obviously the agents are shocked when they look at this and they come, because we're just used to assuming that we're all using a uniform purchase agreement in Omaha, which we've all been using here for a number of years. Yes, I had a hand back there. Yes.
So Vince, in Washington and Dodge County, aren't they paid in arrears, right? Yes.
I think Washington Dodge County is also paid in the rears now. So the question is Washington Dodge County is paid in the rears? And I think the answer is yes.
Yes, they are. Because I work that all the time. So be careful if you're coming from Omaha.
Well, no, see, the nice thing about the OABR form is the OABR...
It gives you the option to pick either one of them.
Well, and it says to pay, it also says pay it as they do in the county that you're closing in. And so they use tradition, or they use practice.
Hold on, guys. Say it again. Yes. So I think that the Omaha board form really addresses this more because it does become county specific. Yes.
So in the purchase agreements, regardless of which one you're using in the free form section, like 10C and the Omaha one, can we put a sentence in there that says either in accordance with the county it's being sold in, or can we even just call out each party will pay the taxes and be prorated based on...
But here's the problem. Here's the problem. You're talking about the Omaha purchase agreement. The problem is the problem is that we've got to solve an MLS, which may be a solution. Is we need the Lincoln. It's when they're using the Lincoln purchase agreements and they're coming and selling a Omaha property. So we need to get the Lincoln as part of this MLS. We need to convince them to put some sort of clause in there. We've got to get them to change their verbiage and their MLS.
Brian and I will put together a quick addendum today that we can send out to you so you use it. Does that make sense?
There's supposed to be a new regional forms for Omaha Lincoln.
There's a new regional forms committee. So I'm hoping they're addressing this. We need to have addressed
6-7 months.
Yes, we do have the biggest vote in this regional MLS.
We can put in the agent remarks for Lincoln buyers, just please be sure to cross out.
Yeah. Well, why even use the MLS? We'll just do an addendum. If they're going to write it on a Lincoln purchase agreement, we'll just have a quick addendum.
Let's make this a bold, separate statement. Just listen, if you're dealing with someone using a Lincoln purchase agreement, be careful, because we're here to protect you. Brian.
We already have a tax proration disclosure we should be using even in Omaha.
Yes.
Because Omaha people even get...
Well, because when people move here from... Brian says that we already have a tax proration disclosure that we should be using, and especially if you've got people moving in from other markets, more than once, we've been on the phone with buyers moving from other markets not understanding how this whole tax thing is done.
I bet most of the people don't know why we started prorating.
Are you going to extend my sales meeting, Ellie?
I just want I don't know when it started.
It sounds like Ellie was around when it started.
Before you started.
I'm pretty sure it was when Cranford Dodge drove in on the Union Pacific Railroad.
But do you know that the taxes that you pay for 2019 are 2018 county and 2019 city, all within the same mill levy? And if you tried to do those when they are due for, you'd have to be splitting up your taxes for the year. I bet people don't know that.
You're going to confuse the shit out of people, Ellie.
I just said, just use ATS and they'll do it for you.
We're a real estate company. We're trying to simplify things here.
No. We want this complicated. Just use ATS and they'll figure it out for you.
That is why
Yeah.
we originally started. Do it the way
Because
you
it's
know
different.
to do it. But that is why. And it makes sense.
It's good to have Ellie back. Now I got someone other than Brian to pick on. Thank you. All right, guys, questions on any of that stuff, grab us. Brian, Heather, me, Mark, Brian, Scott, any of us. So we're here to help you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Next thing, I've got to go over this one more time. Let me give a quick update on Regency. Carpet should be going in hopefully starting this week in Regency. We're getting there. We are still on target. Any of those moving down there, I think we got 100 plus people going down to Regency. In the middle of June, our goal is that starting that third Monday of June, start moving people down there to the Regency office. So we're excited about that. It's going to be very cool, very modern. As you drive by, we're working to get the signs wrapped up right now. But as you drive by the interstate, you'll see a building where they've cut out windows. On the interstate side, we're going to have a signage there on that interstate. We'll have a signage on the front side. So anyone that wants to go down there and see that, grab Jay or I, and we'll be happy to bring you down there at some time. And I do have a board in my office that kind of shows all the color schemes with the carpet and so forth. So if you want to come and see that, just pop into my office anytime you want. We had talked a couple weeks ago about the social media issue with the Berkshire Hathaway name being too long. Berkshire Hathaway, or hopefully the attorney for that, I've had some conversations with her, is going to give us approval on Instagram and some of these places to use BHHS for social media versus spelling out the whole name, Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Ambassador Real Estate. But what I found after that last conversation, people started coming to me, there's still a real problem with Instagram. I almost feel like we're going to have to go down in front of the Real Estate Commission and let them understand this is not as simple as they want. With Facebook, as I understand this, in the title page, you can put your name or team name with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Ambassador Real Estate, and it gives you enough characters to spell that out. In Instagram, and I believe Snapchat, it does not give you the ability to do that. So you have to put your name, whatever your tag is, right, in Instagram, and I believe in Snapchat, and then right below that, you can go down. Sorry, I'll make it. Yeah. So here's one. That's Facebook. Right. Non-real estate group with Berkshire Hathaway Home. So you can do that there. Facebook, it seems like that's the solution of what you need to do and everything, okay? But when you go to Instagram and when you go to Instagram or you go to, you're making me dizzy. Sorry. And I think that's what it's called, the bio. So when you go to, you can put your name in, but it only gives you 30 characters. So team names, agent names within Berkshire Hathaway, even with BHHS, Ambassador Real Estate, doesn't work there. So right under there on that profile page, you've got to make sure that you have your name and then Berkshire Hathaway Homes, BHHS, Ambassador Real Estate, or Berkshire Hathaway Home Service right under. The problem is then on Instagram, if you go click a picture below that, or any, the ruling the Real Estate Commission has right now, where it's defying logic and it's not possible. And we went and searched. I had Brooke and Scott go search 5 from Nebraska Realty, from Dodge, from Better Homes, from all these other companies. Everybody's in violation of this rule right now. Okay, because it's not possible to do this on Instagram and Snapchat the way they're set up. So when you go on Instagram and then you click on a picture, the way the commission is telling us the rule needs to be right now, on every single clickable thing, you've got to say the whole thing, Berkshire Hathaway, and all it has up there is Omaha Realtor versus all the other verbiage on it. So these are examples of other companies not in compliance. But here's the whole problem. So we're trying to figure out a solution to this, but be careful because, again, every week we are getting these complaints from the Real Estate Commission. More and more of these are coming in on Instagram and Snapchat. In the beginning, they were all on Facebook. So Facebook, there's no excuse for you not to have this right because you can have that. They allow you enough characters. We're going to have another conversation with the Real Estate Commission when it comes with Greg Lemon, and probably even go down there and just show some examples of why this is not practical. It's just not possible to accomplish what they want. That as long as the landing page and the front page where you have to go into before you click on these other things have this, it seems like there's got to be some flexibility here because it's just not reasonable to do what they're attempting to have us do right now. But the rules are what the rules are. So with that being said, you've got to make sure that any clickable page has Berkshire Hathaway. In this case, let's just assume we have approval. Assume I'm going to get that letter back today from legal counsel. Facebook needs to say Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Ambassador Real Estate. Instagram and Snapchat, we're okay with BHHS, Ambassador Real Estate. So put your name up there. You're not going to be able to put your name up there with that in the tagline for Instagram. Put your name up there, and then right below it, I think it's called the bio, right? Is that the bio part of that? In the bio part of that, your very first line should be BHHS, Ambassador Real Estate. So anywhere that you're doing anything, and guys, this is on postcards, this is on business cards, this is on everything. It just, the majority of the issues that we're dealing with right now are social media. Questions about this? Yes.
I know you said you're putting BHHS.
Yes.
Why didn't you put Berkshire Hathaway HSAE? Because the Berkshire Hathaway is more powerful.
Because they won't approve it. We're pulling hairs to get them to do BHHS. And the purpose is, the argument was that he's even given us this, the Real Estate Commission rulings, which we've sent off to the legal counsel, saying, listen, there's only so many characters and here's what they're requiring us to do, is what's allowed us. And going to Berkshire Hathaway, it's still too long. It kind of defeats the purpose of what we're having an issue with here. So I went around with this for a couple of years with them, getting BHHS, and they finally said, if we're going to do this for you, we're probably going to have to do this for everyone around the country. I'm like, I don't care. Just take care of this for us right now. Yes?
I think the clarity needs to be in the individual post, not your bio page. You can write all that on your bio page.
So let's go to Instagram. Yeah. Let's go to Instagram.
And then this was one from the post. So this is two different viewing of the posts. If you look at this side, you don't see anything.
So see, right here is an example featured by Berkshire Hathaway. This is in the very
once you scroll down,
very beginning of it. Featured by Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices and Berkshire Real Estate. So that's the very first sentence that should be there.
Yes.
But go to Instagram and click on pictures. Can you go to Instagram? Go to somebody.
Yes, you do. If you have multiple photos, you don't.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we were doing that yesterday.
10 photos, yeah.
Well, if somebody has a solution to this, I would be very excited to stop spending time on this. So if you got a solution to this, please come.
I think they need to clarify what our because it's unrealistic. We're posting articles, we're posting whatever. You're not going to recommend.
So this question is, what's the definition of a post? Here, the definition of post to them is anything that markets yourself as a real estate agent. So the point here was, well, what if it's just an article about something else? They're saying that's promoting yourself as a real estate agent. If you're putting a picture of your house, if you're saying I'm a real estate agent, call me. To them, it is so broad. Anything in my conversations with Greg Lemon and Duran Sell is anything real estate related, period. Whether it's an article about something in California, if it's real estate related, you've got to have this on every single post. That's the problem. Every clickable page. So just.
That one's got multiple photos.
Yeah, and this is what we were doing the other day. So if you got all these photos and you click on all these different photos, every single photo you click on is going to have that on there because each one of those is a clickable page in the definition of the Real Estate Commission. So guys, I'm just telling you, please come. And here's the problem. So we've had a person that's settled, $2,500 fine, 3 months suspension served on probation, and take a class. That's pretty much the penalty that's going to be handed down by this. They'll give you 3 days to fix it. So you don't want your name on this list because now all of a sudden you're on this watch list and it's a no-win situation.
Can you put hashtag Berkshire Hathaway?
Hashtag does not work. So the question is, and that's the most common question, can you say hashtag Berkshire Hathaway? And that's not acceptable to them. Because the reason is that it's got to be continuous or connected to. So the name has got to be right next to Berkshire Hathaway. We've already asked that question. So the question was, can you put hashtag? And the answer is no. You can put hashtag, but that doesn't delete you of your responsibility on the Real Estate Commission rules and regs.
What if the picture has that logo on the picture?
That's a good question. So the question is, what if that picture's on every.
See, and I think that's probably a pretty good solution until they fix it, which is tag the name and the logo.
So we'll get an answer on that. So, guys, I hate to keep talking about this, but I've kind of been beat up on this ever since we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. Any other questions that just grab us personally in private if you can? Melanie, can you come in and talk about, I've got down here, there's a $4 million grant money for neighborhood lift program. I've heard this a couple different times. I think you're going to give us, oh good, I didn't know where you're at. You're going to give us an update of what this grant program is and how it works and how people can qualify for it?
So you guys have a flyer out there about the neighborhood lift program. Wells Fargo is contributing $4 million. This is the first time it's come to Omaha. It's only going to be valid for Douglas and Sarpy County. Your buyers would have to register for this on June 3rd. And they say that because there's only going to be roughly 300 buyers that will get in, it's going to be like going online when share tickets came available. They will have to get online June 3rd as soon as they can to even have an option for this free money.
So is this a government program or is this a Wells Fargo program?
This is Wells Fargo contributing.
So Wells Fargo's giving the money.
$4 million, but Wells Fargo does not process the money. This goes into a nonprofit, Neighborhood Lift. The only lenders that you can get it through right now will be Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank, or Cobalt. That's what I've heard so far. You can check with your other lenders here in Omaha, but I don't think they're going to have it available. I'm going to be having a couple dates. The only one that I had initially had for agents was going to be June 22nd from 1 until 2 right here. We're going to toss another one in tomorrow night at 5:30. So if you can't make it, again, this is free money for your buyers. If it's just general public, it could be $15,000 free money for the buyer.
So is there limitations of income or something that qualify for this? Like
it's going to be dependent on how many. There were so many details. It's roughly.
Say it's 69A. You don't. So it's a married couple, and.
So 69,800 is the limit for a married couple.
If it's a married couple and they make too much, one of them can be pulled out of the equation, then they can still qualify.
So you can qualify under one.
And you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. You could actually sell your house as long as you can get.
So don't need to be a first-time home buyer either.
And they have to. Your closing has to be simultaneous.
Okay.
So they do have to, once they get the certificate, they do have to have a signed contract within 60 days. But it can still be new construction. So they're looking at 250,000 and below. FICO score has to be like 620. So I was going to have teachers and first-time responders. They're the ones that are eligible for $17,500. That's what the meeting was going to be specific for tomorrow. That's going to open up to you guys as well. So if you'd want to stop out tomorrow at 5:30, we'll be talking about that. But it's going to
Where'd that be here?
Right here.
Okay.
Free money, $15,000 down payment. It can go to closing costs. It can go to buying down their interest rate. I've got a niece that's purchasing her first home, and she closes on Monday, and I was so bummed because I was going to pull her. But
so is there a payback? That old bill, if you go back to 2009, had a payback, but that phased out over like 5 to 10 years.
So 5 year. They have to reside in the home. It's got to be owner occupied. They have to be in the home 5 years, and it's completely free. Otherwise, it's I think 20% that they'd have to pay back for every year that they don't reside in it. But if you're interested, they even, Pat Verkamp had contacted me about this. He stated that even if you're the listing agent, your sellers could actually advertise this to potential buyers. The May 22nd session that we're going to have here at Berkshire at 1 o'clock, that's exclusive to Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Ambassador Real Estate. On the 23rd, they're opening it up to all agents in Omaha. The mayor's going to be involved. They're opening it to OPS, so it's going to be big. But the money's going to go fast. If you've got a buyer that wants free money, get them in on it.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Real quick, and then we're going to wrap this up. Brian, this is your note. I think I know what it means. If there's already a listing in progress, you cannot sign or talk with someone else. Basically, if there's a signed listing, we just had someone, and we were just talking about this yesterday. Someone had a listing agreement signed. They said they were going to cancel it, and our agent went in and got a new listing agreement signed. You can't do that. The Real Estate Commission is crystal clear. You cannot encourage someone to break or cancel a listing, okay? You cannot approach a seller if their property is listed that's going behind the sign. And even if the seller calls you, you can talk to the seller, okay? But even if the seller calls you and says, my listing expires May 25th, you cannot sign a listing agreement today for an effective date of May 26th, the day after that listing. And the reason I know this because I was on the Real Estate Commission when this happened, and I argued, and I just couldn't get enough votes to overcome that ruling. So the bottom line is, even if they say they're going to cancel it tomorrow, if it expires a week from now, you cannot get a signed listing until such time that listing has expired, period.
I understand that part. What if you have a person who's in an existing listing
However, they call you regarding a buy transaction.
So if you have a person in a listing, so agency is pretty specific. It's with your seller and or with your buyer. So the question is, if you have a person that has their house listed with XYZ and they call you, or actually you can talk to them freely about buying a house, because the agency relationship they have is only specific to.
The only thing where I think it might get muddy, or I'm worried it might, is that them putting an offer on a house being contingent upon the sale of their house. Are you allowed to discuss any kind of?
So the question is, you're selling them a house listed with somebody else, which is clearly legal because you'd have a buyer's agency agreement, and then the conversation is, if you sell them a house that's subject to or contingent upon that house they're selling, what information can you give about that? Basically, I say any information your seller gives you that gives you permission to tell that buyer about that. Anything that's a material fact, you're going to have to disclose. If it's subject to them selling that house, you have to disclose that. So I don't think there's an issue with that. Questions about that? Brian, dual agency with teams, difference between agency that gives you permission to be a dual agent. What are you addressing there?
I must have something more than that, right?
So here's dual agency with teams, difference between agency disclosure and the form that gives you permission.
Oh, there's you know, all right, now you guys know, like agency.
Stand up.
Or, dual agency, you know, your agency form you fill out right first time you read somebody, supposedly, right? But then, when you go to act as a dual agent, you need that permission form that needs to be signed. That is just another 8.5 by 11 form that gives you permission to act as a dual agent.
That's it.
I think that's it.
When's your birthday, Brian?
Monday.
Monday.
Tuesday.
All right. All right. Multiple offers, same thing. Guys, multiple offers, we're seeing lots of escalation clauses. Make sure you understand the escalation clauses. If you don't understand the escalation clauses, get a hold of one of us as the manager. Let us help you walk through that process. There still seems to be confusion on that. I'm not sure why, but we're happy to help you on that. And continue to communicate with agents. Briley team has something out in the parking lot. Brooke, can you talk about that real quick, or do we have someone here to talk about the raising money for a charity today?
Yes. Anybody here from the Briley?
Anyone here from the Briley team?
Right, they're all getting ready. So it's a shop for a good cause. Shop for a good cause. I think part of the money raised today will be donated to flood victims, but they have a cute couple food trucks out there and pop-up shops, boutique shops, and it's nice out, so go get some sun.
Perfect. Volleyball league, everyone's got to play 5:30 tonight to make up a game, so get a hold of your team captain. Ryan, you're giving the good guy award away. Yes, go ahead.
Do you think, since it's second quarter now, that we can get another real estate?
Gail loves me writing State of the Economy letters. Yes, Brooke, put that on my to-do list. Write a State of the Economy, real estate economy list. Yeah. Really good. Go for it. The economy's good. Yes, sir.
I almost took my teammate's advice, and he was like, it's probably never been done before, but you can talk about basically this agent's really great, and he answers his phone calls all the time and all this stuff, and you can present the award to yourself again, so you get it for another week. But I said, that's probably a bad idea. But with that being said, this guy actually started his team around the same time that I did, and he has been nothing but a helpful resource as I've built my team, and I've appreciated just the talks that we've had. Anytime that we've been going back and forth as far as how did you do this, or how would you word this, or any of those things, he's been super helpful, always has his phone available, and for that I've been thankful and grateful and humbled by your presence whenever we get together, and you help me out growing my team. So as I continue to watch you grow your team, I just want to continue to grow mine just like you've been doing. So without further ado, Trevor Shade, Good Guy Award.
Now, Ryan's looking at Trevor the whole time he's talking. Now, what would have been cool is if he was over here looking at Mike, and then he would have turned and gave, huh? That would have been cool. Guys, Continue to communicate, continue to prospect, create good habits, get out there. The market's hot, interest rates are low. There's a lot of good reasons to be talking to your clients, do client appreciation parties. Have a great week.